Hello and welcome to another episode of The CoolKarnis, and this is your host and dost Sanjeev Kulkarni. In this episode, we'll continue our chat with Sangeetha Singh and hear the next part of her exciting journey. What you learn in this one is that the journey of reinventing yourself does not really stop. Sometimes the path you're on might show you new ways, and sometimes your other passions might kick in. That's what this journey is all about. That's what this interview is all about. Let's continue our meeting with the cool Karni, Sangeetha Singh. Hello, Sangeetha.
Hello again, Sanjeev.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks.
All right. I have to start this session with a very, very important question.
Sure.
And please, hand on heart, sahi mein jawab dena.
Sure.
How do I look?
Fantastic. Fabulous. You look great after that chart.
है ना? Thank you. Thank you very much. Chart के बारे में काट दो. But I'm wearing, designer clothes today. I'm wearing के कपड़े.
MM?
You know MM?
I didn't know. MM भी बोला जाता है.
हाँ.
Okay.
So you know MM?
I think I know who you're talking about.
Who do you think?
I think you're talking about Manish Malhotra.
नहीं. I'm wearing मेरे मर्जी के कपड़े.
Oh.
That is why I'm looking so good. But you're looking fabulous as well.
Oh my God. Thank you though. Thank you.
आप किस डिजाइनर के कपड़े पहन रहे हो?
SS.
SS. सब्यसाची?
नहीं. संगीता सिंह के कपड़े पहन रही हूँ.
संगीता सिंह के कपड़े?
Yes.
ये और भी कोई संगीता सिंह है क्या?
नहीं मैं ही हूँ.
तो आप डिजाइनर भी हो?
I've just recently launched a clothing line.
Oh my God!
So, yeah,
Congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Tell us more about this.
So it's called Masavi Clothing, and the story behind Masavi is MASAVE. They are the first two alphabets of my mom's name, my name, and my dad's name.
Very nice.
So I launched my recent resort wear collection as part of a runway in March. So that was very exciting. It's just a start, very humble start. I think I've been putting that aside for very many years, but I finally have taken the plunge and I said I will do this.
Wonderful. Congratulations. This is the start of a new journey then.
It indeed is, because I think one of the key things that I did was I had a week's time before I quit a job and I had to join another job. And just as much as the frustration came up like 20 years ago, I said, now I need to pick up a new skill. So I went and bought a sewing machine out of the blue. And then I said, I will start sewing. So
did you know sewing before?
Just basic stitches, which I learned when I was probably 6-7. Nothing to do with making clothes per se, but stitches only. But then these days, YouTube has got so much material out there that you can go and do stuff by yourself. So self-taught. So I made about 12 garments for the first collection. So that was fantastic. So that's really the story so far.
Wow, no, that's a different journey. So obviously, it in a way, it seems like it's part of a chain. I don't want to say food chain because I'll again get distracted towards food, but it's part of an ecosystem, or it's part of a chain that you start as in the modeling side, and then you get into design. But I'm assuming this is a different world, right? Sirf ek industry mein hone se, that doesn't make it any easy. This is a different world.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
What have you been uncovering about this world?
I think one of the fundamental ideas behind starting a brand of my own was the fact that, and this is where I want to go to in the end, is to kind of reduce the footprint, of all types on the planet. And I really want to get to the point where I only look at recycled clothing and upstyling and doing all of that stuff. You can ask me more questions and I'll answer that down the line.
Already.
But the reality is, I guess, to be known as a person who's doing something offbeat, people will still have to know you for the conventional stuff first. So I think if I had to start my brand off with something like a recycling brand, I will get branded straight away to say, I'll think about it as something that I can do in my free time, sort of a thing, right? So people wouldn't take the brand seriously. So to be able to be recognized as a brand that people can associate themselves with, I think you need something to start off with in the forefront, and that is really what this is about. The first collection is about, but where I want to eventually take it to is in a very different way into what this is. So that's probably just another side note.
But unwrap this a bit more for us. What does recycle mean in this context?
Correct. I think there's more than enough garments on the planet right now.
Yes.
I don't think we need to make more. So that's the whole essence of it. And for most of us, like I would say 99% of us come in this category. There are a number of garments that are sitting in there that we never wear more than once, right? But we would want to wear it. We're probably not wearing it because I either don't like the color or I don't like the style or it's not fitting comfortably or, all that thing. So it's basically looking at an opportunity of what you have in the closet and try and, change it to ensure that you can wear it another time in a different way. All right. I'll give you an example. What you could actually do is take a shirt that you don't like and, convert that into a pinafore that your daughter can wear, as an example. Right? Or you take a shirt and convert that into a skirt that you can actually give it off to your family member.
Skirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are those opportunities for us to look at garments differently than in the state that they are in the current form and shape. So it's basically looking at that opportunity to upcycle and recycle what we already have instead of trying to get more and more as we go. And the reality is, in a world like today's, if people have taken one picture of themselves on the Instagram or socials, they don't want to be seen in the same outfit again. And that's the reality, right?
That's sad, isn't it?
It is. But then, if I were to kind of take their side for a second, I would say give them the option to wear something else or, do it in a different way so that they can wear the same garment again.
Correct.
Right? So it's basically that. And one of the other examples that I would like to give is I did shoot in a designer's outfit. It's actually a velvet gown. There's only so much you can do in a velvet gown, basically, to say. But what I did is I actually wore front side on once. I got a photo shoot done. I did the back side on the front and then I did a photo shoot. And the third time I wore it back to front and then put some jewelry on and upstyled it to do another photo shoot. And all three photo shoots were part of a magazine cover.
Now I'm quickly confused. So I assume that the gown is designed in a way that you can wear the back to the front. You'll have a low back and all.
Correct.
This is not that.
Correct. It's got a low back, and that's what I did back to front, just to kind of give it a different aura. And the designer was completely, she was like shocked and surprised in a pleasant way. And she said, I never thought you could actually do this, wear this front to back and back to front. So
this is itself is a designer idea कि ऐसे करो कि like Monday Tuesday को ये पहन के जाएंगे, उल्टा करो Tuesday Wednesday Thursday को ये पहन के जाएंगे और Friday को casual करके. Wow. So warehouse तो अपना wardrobe तो shrink हो जाएगा
और अच्छी बात है ना वो. So and see, कई बार ऐसा होता है कि हमारा कोई एक favorite outfit होता है, but you cannot possibly wear that. Like if you go to your friend's place, you can probably wear that 3-4 times. But then you feel like मेरे को यही पहनना है आज, लेकिन कितनी बार same चीज पहनूंगी या पहनूंगा, right? So it's giving that option to kind of look at it differently so that दूसरों को पता ना लगे it's the same garment.
ये आपने पक्का आईटी इंडस्ट्री से सीखा होगा नहीं? आज ये स्किल का इधर चिपका दिया, कल को इसी को उठा के दूसरी जगह चिपका दिया, परसों इसी रिसोर्स को तीसरा बना के चिपका दिया. वहां से सीखा है? Where did this come from? Sorry, that was on a lighter note.
Oh my God, I would really like to tell you, वहां से मैंने नहीं सीखा
है. अच्छा, तो कहाँ से सीखा? How did this journey start?
I think this journey started from the fact that we all tend to accumulate a lot of stuff that we don't need. So why do you want to accumulate waste? And really that. So even on a personal front, what I do is, even today, like if I were to buy a new garment, I will give away 3. If I'm not able to give up 3 garments, then I won't buy a new one. That's my policy around it. And there's just so many more external factors that are impacted because of your choice of lifestyle. And I think it's important for us to be aware of it. This can kind of extend itself to, your food footprint, to your life footprint, to your car footprint, and, several other things. I really think that, garments is an important part of our life, and doing something in that area would probably make sense. And I'm interested. So hence why I'm looking at, this option and this route to pursue.
But a similar question again then, is this something which kind of just generally grew over your modeling career and your modeling journey, or
Yeah.
this was also something that was somewhere pent up in your mind earlier?
Interesting. No, not really. It's something that's just come off in the recent past. I think I got. I've been asked many different times in the past as to why don't you open your own clothing brand and clothing line.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, quite a few times. I didn't connect with the idea, to be fair, right? I didn't feel the need to do it at that point in time, and it did not resonate with me, and all that stuff. But I think I'm at a point where I feel that this has given me a new sense of achievement because I sew my own clothes at this stage. So I don't have any, offshoring happening at this stage because I'm operating at a lower scale. So the fact that I've picked up a new skill has given me some more confidence and, new leash of, experience of doing something new. So I think that's one aspect of it. And the second bit is really this fact of reducing waste has been playing in my mind over the last few years. Because I really think there's a lot of waste, and there are ways to consume that. So you don't have to necessarily, go and accumulate more, but try and see how you can consume what you already have in a refreshed fashion. So I think that's been the play on it.
So if I can just club these two episodes together, in the first episode, there was one message that came about trimming your waist. Isme we are talking about trimming the waist. So in simple message, trim the waist, cut the waist.
Love it. I love it.
So this is an interesting journey. So obviously you're still starting off, but there is one question that's popping in my head is you have done so many things now. You have been what did you say? Plain Jane IT girl. Then you have been a model. You have been a Australia ki Vishwa Sundari. Now you're a designer. Is there something that you're seeing that is kind of fundamentally you that has worked in all this, in the sense like, this is a Sangeetha Singh and that's why it worked in IT, it's working here. And the second part of the question is there anything that you've incrementally taken from each and kind of cross-pollinated?
Yeah. I honestly don't think that there's some X factor in me because of which I did something, right? Or did all of this for that
You
matter.
really think so?
I really think so. I think every one of us has the potential to do this. I only think that some of us are probably a little more fearful. And the second bit is we're not persistent or we're not consistent. I think that's the only factor which is probably setting me apart from somebody who's not done this, as an example, right? So otherwise, I feel that everybody has got the potential to do this and probably much more. And we've got so many examples around us where people have done so much more than what I have done in that sense. So yeah, I mean, it's not just me. So I think that you could pick the most bizarre of things that you've never done before and say, I will make it big in this, and you will make it big in this. Like I said, the only two factors that you set aside is I will stay consistent come what may, and then keep doing something little at a time, right? I know that many people have false starts. Like I know a number of people, especially in, addressing the middle-aged people like ourselves, who come to a point in life where we feel that there is a midlife crisis, there is no purpose, there's no identity, and that sort of a thing. I think it's important to understand that it's okay to have many false starts around entrepreneurship or something that you pursue as hobbies and so on and so forth. What is harmful is giving up just because you failed at one point in time. I think that is
message.
I think that is, it's important to keep pursuing, because a failure in one does not mean that you will have failure across the board in everything that you touch. Right? You never know what will actually resonate with you, what will pick up, what will work for you, what will keep you happy. So the important thing is to keep trying, right?
And keep trying different things as well.
Keep trying different things and keep yourself motivated and look forward to doing something new, right? And in the process, you learn and grow. It's the same thing that we say in IT as well. You will only grow if you learn, right? If I say that I don't want to worry about technology, I don't want to know about AI, then you're going to be left behind. It's as simple as that. It's the same thing in life as well. The more you're keen, the more you are open to learning, the more opportunities you're creating for yourself, not for anybody around you. And in that sense, you're also opening avenues for you to be more satisfied and happy with your own life.
True.
So I think that's really what it is. And the second part of your question was, is there elements that I have cross-pollinated? 100%. 100%. And I think there's been a lot of cross pollination from my out of work activities. What I mean by is my day job activities that I've actually brought into my day job. And it's actually fueled my enthusiasm much better than what it was or where it was at. And it's given me a very new purpose from that sense.
Tell us about
Right.
that.
So, for instance, like I said, I've had many points in my career. I've spent 25 years in the industry. I wouldn't say I'm a dinosaur because I think I've moved with the times.
So 25 years in the industry. Did you join the industry when you were a baby?
99.
You got my message though, right?
Yeah, I got your message. I was actually a teenager, not a baby.
Fair enough.
So I guess having spent so long in any one place for that matter, it stops being fresh and new for you. And I'm not saying I'm talking about IT career. It could be just the same for someone who's been in a bank for so many years. It could be the same for someone who's been in the fashion industry for so many years. They could come and say, oh my God, this is just so tiring. Nothing else now excites me anymore. Right? It's that kind of a thing. So when you start looking at outside of what you do and start doing something else, the perspective naturally changes. Right? And if you're curious enough and humble enough to start learning stuff, then what happens is suddenly there is a very refreshed enthusiasm in the way that you look at your own day job or stuff that you're doing on a daily basis. And I think that adds to the quality of life, and which is an important thing for all of us to pursue, because our lives are not the same what it was a decade and a half ago. We probably had less pressures in terms of peer pressure or financial pressure or career pressures, family pressures for that matter. Our times are very different at this point in time.
Yes.
There's a lot of expectation on us, but most importantly, there's a lot of expectation on us by ourselves, which is the biggest hassle, right? So I think to be able to shut your brain down a little bit on those expectations, it's important to let your brain float in doing something, keep doing. So that way, there's avenue again, like I said, to make yourself, make your journey a little more happy and satisfied. But B, the fact that, like I said, it's going to improve your quality of life.
Yes, absolutely.
So cross-pollination, yes, 100% of the time. And I think what I've learned in the IT corporate world is, management skills and, being able to project manage stuff and do all of that stuff has always come handy when I'm looking at opportunities outside of work.
Outside.
So
wonderful. I'm tempted to ask you one question, but I'll hold that for a later time.
Sure.
I want to ask two things which we could not cover in the first section. One is about family.
Sure.
And the second one is about the cause. You talked that, when you go through all these beauty pageants, you have to talk about a certain cause. So I'm assuming that there's a cause that is close to you.
Sure.
Would you like to start? Is there some topic you want to start first, the cause or the family?
Easy. You take a pick.
Okay, let's start with the cause because the family is going to be more interesting.
Sure. Sure. It's an interesting thing. Like, I think as part of the pageant journey, one of the things that really kind of was an influence in me being associated with this for a long period of time is the fact that I could actually be associated with some kind of a charity organization or do something. The reality is all of us are busy, and it's very difficult for us to get our bum out of the seat on a daily basis and go and do something which does not have anything to do with our lives. So it's very difficult to give these days, and that's the truth. My very selfish idea with being part of these pageants was also the fact that by the nature of the fact that I'm associated, I will have to do something for the charity. So I'm quite literally forcing myself to give that time and do something for the community. And that was a great pull for me. For starters, it felt like it's a great way to market myself. But very quickly, that side of marketing went away. And I really started feeling that it's just so much more satisfying to be able to help and be able to kind of look at this in a very fresh light of really doing it for the cause as opposed to doing it for myself. You know the difference? Like, it's very easy to wave a breast cancer flag and say that I support, or throw money at it and say I support, versus really going and talking to people who have suffered and get their reaction and, think about what it means for them and their family members and how it has affected them. Interestingly enough, in fact, I was doing one of the pageants, and one of the foundations that I was supporting was for ovarian cancer. And I was running a workshop at my local gym because I wanted to obviously raise awareness and raise money and stuff like that. Hundreds of people walked into the workshop, and people went and they came and went. After about a couple of hours, there's a lady who walked up to me, and she said, she spoke to me about generally about ovarian cancer and awareness for half an hour. And just before she left, she said, "I'm a survivor myself."
Oh.
And she was obviously, hit with both breast cancer and ovarian cancer.
Oh God.
And not once in that half an hour did she ever lose her smile. Did she ever talk about herself? And did she ever say, did she not appreciate what I was doing?
Mm.
That was her level of selflessness. And I was completely in shock at the back of it, that how come a survivor could not tell me, because that's probably the first thing I want to go and run to people and say, "Oh my God, I'm a survivor." That kind of a thing. So that really moved me in many ways. And I thought,
there's no self-pity. She did not have a self-pity, and she was
so strong. So and it was completely about me. She was trying to appreciate the effort that I'm doing to, bring awareness and stuff like that. I was being happy about it. But when she said that thing, I felt so small. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, this is just ridiculous. Like,
it is humbling.
It is extremely humbling. So I think it's important to find opportunities to give more. And the reality is, the more you give, the more you receive, as much as it does not seem like that from the surface. And I think it really brings a very different level of purpose in your life. Right. And it doesn't have to be just supporting charitable organizations. I often keep telling people that do small kind of deeds even for your own family members. There are many times that we ignore our family people and we don't give them time to have a phone call. Oh, we are very busy. But when there is a phone call from work, we pick it up immediately. Right. So just make that change. At least give yourself the opportunity to say, I know that when I had one of these times, I picked up the phone and I spoke to a couple of my friends and one cousin who I haven't met in 17 years. He's in Japan at this stage, and I rang him, and it almost felt like we connected when we were back as kids.
Absolutely.
Right? And the fact that you got that refreshed memory is so much more priceless than having to pick up the phone and tell your boss that I'll get the job done tomorrow.
Yeah. And it feels so good in your heart and your mind as well, because it refreshes you at so many levels.
Correct. And you feel so much more connected as an individual. And I think that, like I said, it's priceless. It gives you fresh perspective. So it's important to kind of think about giving more as opposed to always think about receiving. Because if you think about receiving, then it limits what you can get.
True. Very important perspective. But just going back to the question again, so which cause are you associated with now? Is there anything that you're associated with that you're driving?
Yeah, so I think as part of my recent collection launch, I wouldn't let you in a lot of details because the marketing flyers haven't come out yet. But the whole intent is to kind of support breast cancer awareness and support charity. As part of breast cancer. There's a breast cancer foundation that I'm working with at the moment.
Here in Australia?
In Australia.
Okay.
In the past, I've worked with a number of different organizations like Make-A-Wish. I've done, Heart Kids. I've done Teal the Beat, which is the ovarian cancer foundation that I'm talking about. So I've worked with a number of different organizations. But at this stage, because I've got a women-centric collection at this point in time, I think I want to kind of work with a foundation that kind of reflects the brand image as it stands. So that's in the works as we speak.
Wonderful. I think best wishes to you for that.
Thank you.
For the cause.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Switching the gear slightly.
Sure.
And this has been burning a bit, so I have to ask you.
Sure.
Anything you're planning to do for men as well?
Great point. In fact, I've just kicked off to start off working on a men's collection because I don't want men to be felt left out.
Yes, we always. I mean, we are always left out.
So I shouldn't probably give this secret out, but I will. In fact, the whole intent.
First time on our show.
First time on CoolKarnis show. The whole idea is our wedding day is coming up. So I want to kick off the men's collection by creating something for my husband as the first outfit.
Wonderful. When you say wedding day, you mean anniversary? Right?
Wedding anniversary, sorry.
Thank you.
Wedding anniversary, sorry.
I was like, okay, maybe it's time to renew your vows and get married again. Or
I can get married any number of times to the same guy.
Okay, that is what I wanted to confirm, but thanks, you clarified that. So Rishabh, all good. Okay, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah,
look forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to as well because it'll be a very, very different style of work to what I've done before, and it'll be exciting to see where that.
I think considering that you said a shirt can become a skirt, I'm just excited to see what's going to happen. Maybe a gown is going to become like a nice jacket for Rishabh. Let's see. All right, that's exciting. I mean, really looking forward to it. I mean, best
Yeah,
wishes.
sure. No,
So I'm
thank you.
sure you
Thank
will be
you.
launching and announcing
Sure,
about this
sure,
soon.
sure, sure. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
Let's get to the other part that I
Sure,
mentioned. So
sure.
about family, because I feel that family is always an important pillar
Yeah.
for all of us, and
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
as we grow up. Initially, it's our parents, it's our siblings, and as we kind of move into the new world, it's our spouse, it's our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a bit about that. You know, who's in the family? Point one,
Sure,
and
sure.
how has their support been for you throughout this journey and these various phases that too. Now you're going to be an entrepreneur, or you are an entrepreneur.
No, thank you. So in Australia, obviously, it's my husband and my son. My son is turning 18 next month, so he's an adult now. So life quickly changes. I think I just left him in prep a few days ago. That's how you feel. My husband is an IT professional as well, so he's been a senior entrepreneur for many parts of many years of his life. So we're just the three of us. So we don't have family here in Melbourne otherwise. The rest of my family members are back in India. Mom and dad are in Chennai. Brother and sister-in-law live in Gurgaon. And yeah, any opportunity that we get, we try and get together. So that's the whole idea. But I think having said that, I think I'm the entrepreneur in the house. Ashwin, that's my brother. I'm not cutting you out just yet, but I'm just saying. I think I've been like that. Even in fact, like I was the first one in our family to probably have a cross-cultural wedding as well. So that opened the gates for my brother. So he got married to a North Indian girl. So
So trendsetter in a way.
Trailblazer. Sometimes you have to be careful not to be burnt as you trailblaze. So yeah. Even prior to this, I think when I was 19, I started my own software company, only because I didn't want to kind of go through the rat race of, having to line up for a $2,000 a month base salary at a point in time. We completed learning Visual Basic. And by the time the job market opened up, everybody had moved on to Java. And I was like, oh my God, now how do we learn Java within like a week to get a job? And then we said, no, we can't go into this rat race. People will eat us up. So we went and opened our own company and did all that stuff. So
Who's we?
My husband and I,
All right, okay.
he was my business partner back then. So we ran the company successfully for 3 years and all that jazz. But
So then life has become business, or business has become life.
I think it was purely business for a fair bit of time. He
Then
wouldn't
business
agree
became
to
life.
it. And then we decided logically that it should become life. And then we wrapped up the business. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is I've always been in that place where I've trailblazed a little bit. And I think that a lot of that support has come from my husband, Rishabh, right? So he's a person like that. He's always been that person who wants to kind of break away from the norm. And we've always been in that frequency of thinking that we don't want to do what everybody has done, always taken the unbeaten path. Always take the unbeaten path. To the point that I was just so silly that, pardon me, when I was in my grade 12, all of the kids would go to school on the school bus. And I would say, I don't want to go on the school bus, so I would actually walk. So
nice.
Yeah, it was just that
How long was that?
It was about 15 minutes walk, wasn't too far.
Okay.
But the fact was like, I've always been very keen on not getting, put into this mold of you are this and you have to do this and that's how you have to live your life and do all that
So you've been breaking the stereotype in a way all the way.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe that's the way you're probably putting a footer to it.
Yes.
But I've always wanted to do that. Like, and I think I still do that in my life. And I'm like, I don't rest easy. Like, it's very easy to probably sit back and say, okay, I've done enough. I want to stay this way. But and I think a lot of that comes from my dad. He's very similar. Like he's not been an entrepreneur, but he could have so easily been an entrepreneur in today's era. And I've seen a lot of that in my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. Again, trailblazer. For her time, she was way ahead of everyone else. She sent all her kids to English-speaking schools, and all her kids are settled abroad, and that kind of a jazz. So there are bits and pieces that obviously you get as part of being, the family that you are with.
Right.
But for a large part, I think the confidence to go out and do something different has largely come from the support that I've had from Rishabh, my husband. Purely because we've got very similar thinking style with respect to what we want to do, we will not fit in the mold that you want us to fit in. And the second bit is
create a mold. You create a new mold.
Create a new mold. Yeah, create a new mold and don't put anybody else into it. So that people have flexibility to create their own molds. And the second bit is really the eagerness to keep learning. I think that's what it is. I think if we don't have that urge to learn, you will become very stagnant. I think that's the whole idea. And what comes with that is once you go out of your own comfort zone to start off something new, you are forced to become humble. Because I know, like I said, many people have false starts because they think they will make it big on day one. It's never going to be the case. It's a journey, right?
Absolutely.
And it entails that you have to probably be able to be humble and hunker down and put in the effort and put in the energy. Otherwise, there's only so far that you can take something.
And I think that's a very important point, because maybe if I just take the glamour world in this instance, right, or for that matter in any industry that you look at, there is a certain fame element or a glamour element to it. I don't mean glamour as in media only.
Sure, I get it.
You'll have the famous people there, and for good reasons or bad, those are always the guys or people who you see in the limelight, and that's what you want to be. And you feel that, oh, I start in this journey and that's what I'll be tomorrow. But I think what we conveniently miss is the journey that it takes. And in the first episode, when you talked about how many rejections you had to go through, that is mind-numbing in a way, because it's enough for anybody to just give up.
Sure.
But not doing that and being true to your passion and to just keep going, and the point that you talked about, taking a baby step at each time, is probably the very, very important aspect.
Yeah.
So, all right, after this slightly heavy conversation, let's take a pause.
Sure.
So what do you do to relax? Or are you also one of those who relaxes these days?
Relaxes.
Do you know that term?
No, I don't.
It's people who keep looking at reels as a way to relax.
No. I can't do that. Like, keep scrolling on the phone. That makes me so tired. I can't.
So you don't relax. So you do something else to relax.
Yeah. I have to do something physical to relax. That's my whole jazz.
Okay.
So obviously I do, like I said, I play African drums when I get a chance. So
what is African drums?
It's called djembe. It's like a single drum instrument. So I picked up when I came to Melbourne. I wanted to, like I said, another part of learning. I wanted to pick up a new skill. So I said, I'll pick up djembe. So I do gigs in Melbourne when there are opportunities. So that's one thing that probably helps me relax. And the house is like, we're all musical. My husband does a lot of music stuff. My son has gotten into music production now. So there's always some music stuff happening in the house. So that's one thing.
Very nice.
Second thing is I'm absolutely into sport. Like, I love swimming. So I try and go out for a swim. If I have to get my heads down time, I might just go for a swim for a little bit and then come back. It refreshes me. Walks have been refreshing. I've gotten company to start playing badminton. So we're doing once a week at MSAC. So that's been phenomenal. So you go and do that. And my gym time is absolutely, non-negotiable. So twice a week, I spend half an hour, 45 minutes on myself. So that's been great as well. But I think the thing that I'm missing out now is a lot of reading. I used to do a lot of reading in the last few years, but now because of everything else that I've picked up, my reading time has gone down. Not very happy about it, but I'd love to get back on it.
So, I mean, how have you managed to add another 20, 24 hours in your day? Because clearly you don't have 24 hours in your day, right? You have more than that.
I think I get asked that question many times. And my answer to you is like, if you make something a priority in your life, you will make time.
But what? Because you seem to have so many priorities at the same time.
I mean, there is enough time to do stuff. That's the reality. Right? There is enough time. We're just not able to manage our time if somebody says they don't have time. That's the whole idea, right? I still have to cook and clean. Don't get me wrong. Like, I still have to,
COVID didn't change anything in your house? I mean, I thought there are 2 boys in your house. Okay.
Let's just say I do most of the cooking and cleaning in the house. So let's just leave it at that.
Vishwa, I'll talk to you later.
So yeah, I mean, but then if that's the priority, then that's you will give time to it. If it's all in your head, right? At the end of the day, right? I am just doing this. Some people in their 24 hours smash so much more than what I'm doing. So
there's
it's-
already somebody else to look up to.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And just coming back to that point, I just wanted to probably call out something very different. One of the other things that I've done as part of pageants is the opportunity to be able to meet people from different culture in different countries. And it's interesting how all of these women bring a very fresh perspective and dimension of how they are managing their own lives. And that's been very interesting to hear, right? And I think as a result of which, one of the things that I've picked up for myself in life is it's very easy to judge someone and say they don't matter to me. But it's very hard to look at good qualities in a person that you don't have and try and imbibe. So, and I'm not discounting myself, very guilty of this. For most part of my life, I've only been judging people and discounting them and say, I will not hear any word that comes from that person, and especially at the workplace. But I've switched that perspective the other way around a little bit. If there's someone that I don't relate to or I don't resonate with in terms of ideas and frequency, and try and see what is that one quality in him or her that I don't have. And I focus on that. Right. And that makes that relationship very different from that point onwards. Because it's very easy to blame anyone for not being like you. But they're not meant to be like you. And that's the whole idea. Right. We talk so much about diversity and inclusion, lip service. But the reality is, you have to let people the way they are.
Exactly. And diversity is not just gender or race, right? Diversity is in us as individuals.
Right. And in thoughts and words and, speak and stuff like that. So I think that's been very refreshing for me in my own learning, that look for something that you don't have in the other person. And look for that positive thing that makes that person, different from you.
That's a wonderful suggestion.
Yeah.
Something that we can probably take everywhere, not just workplace, but even at even in friend circles and family.
Correct. Because what I realized is, and this is, I'm talking about, my own personal experience. It may not be for others. I've been a big loner for most part of my life.
Loner?
Yeah, 100%. I was like a super introvert, big loner,
like
didn't have friends.
Like when? like before you met Rishabh?
Before I met Rishabh, actually. In fact, I keep telling people he's the only guy I ever spoke to and I got married to. I would not go and talk to anybody. I remember in my primary school, in my secondary school, in my uni, I had one friend and that's it. Like I could never connect with
that
people.
is Rishabh. No, you mean somebody else.
Somebody else. I mean, by the time at the time of completion of uni is when I met Rishabh.
Fair enough. Okay, right.
But what I realized is, if you don't connect with people, you will live a very sad life and you'll be by yourself. And that grew on me very quickly. Then I was like, oh my God, if I keep waiting for people of my own wavelength and I will only talk to people who think like me, that's never going to happen. Right? It's never going to happen. And how much conversation can you have with a person who's got the same wavelength? If you don't listen to other ideas, how are you going to improve yourself, or how are you going to build your relationships? So I think the fear in me kicked in very quickly. And I said, oh shit, I can't do this anymore. And pardon my euphemism. But I was like, I'll end up living a very lonely life. And then that's why I switched around. Like to the point where many of my friends, my classmates who are friends through Facebook and other channels, tell me we can't recognize the Sangeeta we know before.
But how did this change happen? Was there some trigger?
I think it's a realization over a very long period of time.
But we are talking of, when you're in your teens.
Correct. So I think probably till my late 20s, I was like that.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. You can ask people and I wasn't this enterprising. I wasn't an extrovert. I wasn't very, keen on talking to people and, doing all that jazz.
Wow.
Like extreme introvert actually.
So the Sangeeta of the 20s probably, we wouldn't be friends.
No, we wouldn't have been friends. People wouldn't. They refuse to recognize. So they're like, are you the same person that we used to talk to or not talk to?
So it's like a complete new person in a way.
I think you
it's
evolve.
The same person.
It's the same person. Yeah. You evolve. And it's not a function of turning gray. It's more a function of you realizing what your priority in life is. Right? I think my priority in life for a very long period of time was, I will do everything by myself. I don't need anybody's help. Right? Or I can stand on my own. The reality is you can't stand on your own. That's the fact. Right? Even for you to stay happy and have a smile on your face, you need people around. And that's the fact. Right. So I think it's that realization which very quickly started to dawn upon me, and I said, okay, this is not the way I can't live. I can't live my life like this. And that's where I switched the perspective around again, looking at people. Otherwise, I used to be
Wonderful.
so unhappy with folks around and be judgmental in the first statement that they've made, and pull yourself back into a cocoon and not expose yourself, not become vulnerable, always trying to put a facade on and do all that jazz. I think gone are those days.
Well, kudos to you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that the change has happened. Now let's lighten this up a bit.
Sure.
What do you all do as a family? Are you all travel buffs? Are you all... so you said you definitely don't relax. So there is something else that you'll be doing as a family.
I think, like I said, music is a big part. So we always have some music projects going. We want to do
you create
something.
Music?
My husband composes. My son composes now. In fact, like in the fashion show that I just launched my collection, my son did the music for the whole runway collection.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's into sound production, music production. So he collaborates with artists across the globe, and he does his own jazz. And
how old is he again?
He's 18.
It runs in the blood. It runs in the family.
I would probably say that. So music is a big component. So we try and do stuff at home, like just relax with music, basically. So that's one thing. But traveling, yes, all of us love traveling. Like I think to the point where if I don't jump on a plane every 3 months, I have this itch. Oh my God!
Every 3 months.
Every 3 months, I have to get on a plane.
So when is the next third month coming?
I think June, first week of June.
And where are you going, if I may ask?
Bali. So we're off to Bali to celebrate my mom's 70th.
Wonderful.
So we're having a family congregation. So my brother and sister-in-law are joining us as well. Mom, dad will be there. So that'll be a great occasion to come together.
Advance birthday wishes to auntie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So stuff like that. So traveling, yes, definitely there. But I think as a family, we're also these nutcases that sit and keep cooking up entrepreneurial ideas.
Oh,
right.
Okay. I just got stuck on cooking up, but this is entrepreneurial ideas. Okay, fair enough. कुछ थोड़े side में पड़े हो तो.
I can tell you a number of different. I was just jokingly telling one of my other friends the other day that we've got so many domains that we have booked and never used. I can tell you at least we've got 15 domains booked. We never did anything about it. As soon as we have an idea, let's book the domain before we lose it.
So you're a hoarders. You're a domain hoarders. Okay. और फिर प्रीमियम पे बेचो टाइप.
No. वो नहीं करते हैं. वो करते होते तो पैसे आ गए होते.
Fair enough.
But yeah, cooking up ideas really. So what next? That kind of a thing. So,
wonderful. I think that can be an episode in itself. Maybe we should have Rishabh and your family here, and we can talk about just cooking up ideas and ideas in general.
I know.
But to the travel part, any what's been your best? I mean, is there a place that you'd want to go again and again?
I think very easily Florence. I've been there twice. I think it's one of the best cities in the world, so cannot complain. But I think what doesn't come close anywhere near to this place is Iceland. We did a trip to Iceland. It was actually like a place not on Earth. It just feels something different. It was almost extraterrestrial feel. And I would love to just become an Icelandic lamb and stay in the mountains grazing somewhere and have the best life.
Iceland. Okay, that's one thing surely to try. But I do have a Florence story though. I mean, I did get a chance to get to Florence, and of course, you did all your David and all those kind of things. But we were on a road trip, like from one end of Italy to another. We had probably 10 days or something.
Sure.
And we were going all the way from Naples, all the way up to Milan, and then we were flying out.
Sure.
So we got lost in Florence.
Right.
And we were terribly hungry.
Yeah.
And surprise, we end up on this one desi dhaba. If you ask me where it is, there's no way I can tell you. And maybe it's because we were hungry. Maybe it's because, it's in a foreign country. But it is probably the best Indian food we had.
Yeah.
North Indian, in Delhi style.
Yeah.
And they had all these kind of khatiyas. And outside they had one of those cycle rickshaws.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. It was like the best experience that we had. And where is this happening? In Italy, of all places.
That's stunning.
That's my Florence story. I mean, David was honestly, I couldn't, kya isko dekhne kyun aate hai log types.
Oh my God, I was floored. I
With
stood
David?
there. Oh yeah, I stood
Okay.
there, and I was like, wow.
चलो नहीं मुझे तो कुछ attraction लगा नहीं उसमें. But ठीक है, I mean, I don't want to go in that direction,
Sure,
but
sure,
fair
sure,
enough.
sure, sure.
But okay, so those are the two, Florence and
Yeah,
Iceland.
Florence, and just to complete the story, like what you said, I don't know if you know, but Rome has a Saravana Bhavan.
Saravana Bhavan is everywhere
Everywhere.
now, but I didn't know that.
So one night when I took mom and dad to a Europe trip, and we decided to go to Saravana Bhavan. Mom said she'll hang back. She said she was too tired to travel. So my dad and I we took a almost 45-minute journey on a bus to go to this place, Saravana Bhavan.
Really?
And kid you not, it's the best Saravana Bhavan outside of India that I've had food at.
Really?
The quality and the food taste was exactly like the one that I would get in Chennai. Oh my god, the vada sambar and like idlis and dosa. Oh, serious nostalgia. My dad was like, I haven't had food like this in Chennai Saravana Bhavan in so long.
It's funny, right? I mean,
It is funny.
when you're out
It
in
is
different
funny.
countries
Yeah,
and you come
yeah.
across such experiences.
yeah.
I have a different Rome story as well, but
Right.
very simply put, we had a local. So this was part of our MBA group,
Sure.
and there was an alumni who was a Rome Italian, basically Rome local.
Yeah.
So he took us to one of these like authentic eateries. Typically that's something as a tourist you may or may not come across.
Sure.
This was along what's the river? Tiger, right? I forget the name of the river in Rome.
Yeah.
So it was on the banks of that, and kid you not, everything we had there was just a pizza.
Right.
Even the dessert. I mean, now it's common, but back then for us, for pizza was pizza, right? I mean, you can't say that I'm going to start with a pizza which is different style taste.
Yeah.
Then you have a pizza,
Right.
and then for dessert also you have a pizza. It was like Nutella filled, on the crust, and
that's right.
so it was like death by pizza, but too tasty.
Yeah.
फिर से खाने के एरिया में घुस गए यार, फिर
I
से मुंह में
know.
पानी आ
I'm
रहा है.
just trying to say that you're able to weave this food thing into every part of the story.
नहीं पता नहीं यार. I mean, maybe चाट हो गया ना, अभी पिज्जा खाएंगे उसके बाद. All right. So now we'll get into a small fun section,
Sure.
which is more like a rapid fire question.
Oh my god,
Questions
that
to
sounds
you.
like coffee with KoolKarnis.
Coffee with KoolKarnis, exactly. Karan kal ka hai chokra, अपन आज के हैं. KoolKarni.
Fair enough.
All right.
Sure.
जो भी कहेंगे सच कहेंगे.
बिल्कुल
हाँ?
100%.
और एकदम
बिल्कुल.
क्विक आंसर.
Okay, done.
Okay. इडली डोसा और छोले भटूरे.
छोले भटूरे.
छोले भटूरे. Costume designing or modeling?
Modeling.
Okay, very good. First celebrity crush?
Oh, first Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Speed.
All right.
I was so stuck on Speed.
Yes,
that movie.
that is right, actually.
He looked hot. He still does look hot in that one.
In that one, but even
That
now,
one.
you're still a Keanu Reeves?
I am not as much as I was when Speed came out.
Okay. All right. I think I know the answer for this, but I'm still going to ask.
Sure.
Delhi or Chennai?
Delhi.
Delhi or Melbourne?
Melbourne.
अरे वाह, यहाँ पे आंसर बदल गया यार. Okay, this I had not expected, but all right, fair enough. IT or beauty, as in beauty pageants?
Cannot be IT, beauty.
Beauty, there you go. All right, this is going to be difficult.
Sure.
Rajni or Shahrukh?
I am not a Shah Rukh Khan fan.
चलो यार किसी भी और को डाल
I
दो,
am
but
not
Rajni
a
or somebody, Rajni or anybody
I am
else.
not a Rajni fan.
अయ్यो.
I am not a Rajni fan either.
तो Keanu Reeves or Rajni?
Oh, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu
come
Reeves.
on.
अच्छा चलो, this is okay. Not expected.
Yeah.
All right.
I told you, don't put me in a mold.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, have to break the mold. समझ में आ गया. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Beach.
Water.
Okay, that's why you live close to a beach. Understandably.
Water.
Tea or filter coffee?
Filter coffee.
Filter coffee.
One cup a day.
1 cup a day. Fantastic. Vada pav or papdi chaat?
Papdi chaat. Haldiram.
क्या है, पूरी दिल्ली की लड़की है यार. I mean, okay. Aishwarya or Sushmita?
Aishwarya, funny that you asked me that question. I actually used to have Aishwarya Rai's screensaver on my my desktop for many years as a teenager. Yeah, I would keep changing that on a daily basis, but she was on my screensaver for a very long period of time.
I have 2 more questions, but we'll come back to this, okay? Because this is interesting. I want to know more. In fact, only one question. Being a mother or being a daughter? Or being a wife?
Being a wife.
Okay. Lucky Rishabh. That is wonderful. So that's the end of it.
Thank you.
This was fun.
Yes. Yes.
Now we'll come back to that question again.
Sure.
So Aishwarya or Sushmita, and you
Sushmita.
said Aishwarya all the way. Why?
I mean, I like both of them. It's not a question of personality. I think if I were to just go by beauty, natural beauty, I think Aishwarya.
Hmm.
She's something else.
Hmm.
She's something else. Yeah.
But as if you dig deeper, I mean, especially because you as a beauty pageant winner yourself,
Sure.
there are various rounds you go through, there are various phases you go through. So probably you have observed them and studied them more closely as individuals. Do you see any difference in that sense? Because I personally am not into this, but I see them as very different individuals. And
yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
Sushmita
yeah.
fan,
Sure,
by the way.
Sure. Okay. All right. I think see, one of the things I admire, I'm going to probably say what I admire about each of them. Sushmita comes across as someone who's really lived life and understands life, and she's really understood life. So she can give you the crux of life, that sort of a thing. Right. And I really appreciate her for all the bold decisions that she's taken. And in fact, I saw one of her recent interview where she had so much trouble. She had to go through so much trouble to put the name of her as a mother for a child.
For the child. Yeah.
Only because they wouldn't accept without a father, sort of a thing. So I think that's all like phenomenal, right? You're breaking stereotypes there in the most public of ways, if anything. So absolutely that. But I think for me, Aishwarya also comes across as a person who's well-read, well-educated, and truly knows how to have her head on her shoulders after all the successes that she's had. Right. And I think that is very, very admirable. Right. It's very easy to, and especially knowing, and this is something my husband keeps saying, right? Pretty people know that they're pretty. Right. So they naturally tend to have a bit of an elevated status when they're talking to people in their heads. Right. So in such a situation, it's very difficult to stay down to earth. So I think I admire her for that reason.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. No, that's good to know. All right. So now let's come towards the concluding part of this journey.
Sure.
There are two questions that stand out for me.
Okay. Yeah.
First, obviously, is consistently you have been breaking the stereotypes. Now that you have started in a journey where you're on a designer path. But I'm fairly sure that थोड़े दिन में कुछ और कीड़ा start होएगा. Do you know what that कीड़ा is? Do you have a sense of what that is?
I don't have a sense, but I would love to do something in this. Is something to do with health and well-being. I think that's been playing up in our heads, in Rishabh and my head, for a very long period in time. We want to do something. We have some concrete ideas, but I don't know where it's going to come to its head and start, moving in which direction. We're not sure of that yet. So I would love, like I said, to do something in that space, because I think it's very relevant in the world and times that we're living in. People's well-being is the most important thing, and what I mean by well-being is mental well-being, and ensuring that you have the right headspace to kind of be happy in your body. If I can put it that way. So hopefully वो कीड़ा है, hopefully हम कुछ कर पाएं उसमें. So I would love for that to kick off.
Wonderful. And from the sounds of it, Rishabh has already started something in that direction.
Yeah, we've registered a domain.
अच्छा. So that is the first step. जो भी करना है पहले domain register कर लो. That's the first thing.
I'm not saying that. He said it.
Fair enough. But then kudos. I mean, best wishes to you on that journey. And I can somehow, in a way, see all this coming together as well, right?
Sure.
You're obviously the model. उसके लिए जो creative चाहिए वो आपके family में ही बन जाएगा, music बन जाएगा, उसके लिए सब बन जाएगा. Then you're making clothing wear, so you can probably have some healthy clothing wear as well. And then, of course, what you do for the mental and the health. So kudos to you.
No, thank you, Sanjay.
Best wishes.
Sure.
The second question I want to ask is, especially for women, but I would say even in general, what are some messages that you want to leave us with today?
Sure. I think it's very important to live life for yourself. Oftentimes we are kind of torn in our own heads to either take care of family or look at career and profession and make good on the professional front, and then having to juggle between the different stuff that we are meant to do, like balancing work and life and doing all that jazz. If you are ever in a conflict, and take this from a person who's having to do this on a daily basis, and so are many of you out there, put yourself first. I think that's important. And whether man or woman, for that matter, it's very important to save your peace of mind at the end of the day. So if it comes between choices to make between something else and your peace of mind, always choose your peace of mind, because that'll always end up being the right decision, right? So that is point number one. Point number two, I think it's very important to follow your instinct, because we're always conditioned in a way to listen to people and take other people's suggestions and opinions, and that tends to confuse us at times. Nobody is trying to, I would like to say that, people are not necessarily trying to drive us away from our dreams. It's just that probably they love us as much, or they're just cautious about what we are saying. But then they are not us. Like, someone else is not me. So I think it's important to understand yourself as an individual and have the faith and trust in yourself. And your instinct will never take you in the wrong direction, in my personal opinion. So always trust your instinct, whatever that might be. Right? Never go against your instinct, because that will always be the wrong decision. So I think that's number two. And for women, I think I'm going to probably also call out, it's very important to have your financial independence. I think that is a great foundation for everything else that you want to pursue in life, whether it's career or hobbies or things like that. It's very important for people to have that front and center of everything that you do. And I think it, as much as I hate to say it, I think that is a decent leveler to put you in the right platform along with everyone else in the society as it stands today. That might change later, but I think it's important to have financial independence. And I think it's important to live life and be happy. Find things to keep yourself happy. I think those are the four
I think that's especially the last point that you made was also very important, because in some ways, and maybe I may be speaking about people that I see in my in my circles, but somehow, somewhere women are financially independent, but are they really financially aware? I think there is still a lot. Somehow, there is a dependency. The man of the house will do it, or my husband will take care. But I think it's equally important for women, our daughters, to become financially aware, because you really need to know how that works.
Yeah, well said.
And don't let somebody else do that for you. You can let an expert do that for you. That's not an issue, but it should be you in control. Really, I genuinely feel that.
Yeah, 100%. Cannot agree more.
But wonderful. Thank you so much, Sangeeta, for doing this for us.
Thank you. No, thank you, Sanjeev, for having me here. I am super excited to be part of your show. And I'm privileged.
and I'm fairly confident that with the kind of kidas that you have in your head, you will very soon be here for a next episode where we get to see a next side of Sangeetha Singh.
Thank you. Kind words. Kind words. But really, thanks a bunch for having me. And I had a whale of a time.
Thank you. Likewise.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
You can say that again.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of an exciting chat with the KoolKarni, Sangeetha Singh. On behalf of all of you, I would like to wish Sangeeta the very best in her new endeavor as a fashion designer. May her journey of reinvention continue, and I'm hoping that we will have her soon on our podcast again in her new reinvented avatar. Thanks to all of you for tuning in and listening in to the very first interview. If you have liked this, I request you to please like this video and subscribe to our channel, The KoolKarnis. And please share it with other friends who might appreciate and enjoy such content. And lastly, if you know of any other such trailblazer or such KoolKarni that we should have on our channel, please do let me know by writing in the comments or sending me an email at thecoolkarnis@gmail.com. This is your host and host, Sanjeev Kulkarni, signing off, and we'll be back with a new episode with another KoolKarni. Thank you so much, and see you.